Hello, this EME Vision training session is on how to create sales orders, also known as a work in progress. So we're going to be covering a number of things today that all relate to sales orders and WIPs. The first thing that we're going to look at is the creation of the project, creating the sales order. We're going to look at the different types of ways you can put product onto the sales order or the WIP. We're going to look at adding decoration and imprint methods to the products on the sales order. We're going to be looking at design view of what that sales order or WIP looks like when you send it to the customer or give it to the customer. We're also going to be referring to taking deposit and how that works on the system. And then finally, we're going to talk about shipping details and how you can change or ship to multiple addresses. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is from the dashboard. You'll see that we're at the EME Vision training version. So we do have some test data in this system that we're going to be using today. And we're going to start up at the top, which is at the navigation toolbar, the top of the page. And we're going to be focused here on projects. The first step to creating sales orders and WIPs are basically to create the project first. So the first thing that we're going to do is come into the project, hit new project, and we're going to give it a subject. There's also, we're going to be at new status with it, which is new project. Target date is the date that they need those products by, that you're having your event. The customer, we can just go ahead, we can look at the database of customers and select a customer, or to save time, you can just type in the customer name and it will pull up a listing and you can select that customer. You also can use the drop down to select the contact as well. So using the next button in the top right, this is where we're going to go ahead and create that sales order or that work in progress. So we're going to come over here to create sales order. And you'll see the project information on the top left. So you'll see the customer name, the project ID number. You can also see the subject and the contact. And the status is at new order, which means you're just creating that sales order or building that sales order or work in progress at this time. On the right hand side, you'll see several tabs here. So the general tab is going to have a place for you to put the job box. So we put our job box number of 70, and if you had a customer PO number, you could put that in there as well. You'll also want to put the due date for that order, so the date, the in-hands date, so the 30th, and then when you want to schedule that into production. The next tab over is where you can put the shipping information. The shipping information is usually tied to the contact that's been selected. So since we've selected Tammy Hughes, she would have an address on the customer record, and if not, it would just pull through the company address. If you don't see an address here, what you can do is click on the shipping address link, and this will provide you with all the addresses that are against that customer record. And you could choose one just by highlighting that entry, or you could add a new entry to send the goods to. So we'll select an existing entry and bring that through to our sales order. The last tab you have is the billing tab. So again, we have contact Tammy. If it was someone different, we could select from the drop down there. And again, if this billing address was different, you could go in here, select the billing address, and bring that forward as well. So we'll go back to the General tab and click on the General tab. There's a couple other things that are important, and we talk about these now because it will pull through to your production planner. You have these two little boxes up here in the top right. One is urgent and one is proof. If it is an urgent job, you do want to make sure that you're checking this box. If it's requiring a proof, you'll also want to check that. These two items will pull through to the production planner. Now, there are a few ways in which you can get product onto your WIP or your sales order. One is through the clipboard. So if I come up to the clipboard and I select an item, so if I pull up this polo, I can add that directly to the sales order and hit go. So it's gone ahead and put that onto the sales order as a line item. And what I will want to do now is select my colors and sizes for this particular polo. So I'll click on color and size and black, and I'm just going to go ahead and select 50 small. If I had another option, I could wanted to maybe put French blue, and I might want 100 larges. So I can update my options, and it will put those on as a separate line item on my sales order. So that's adding product using the clipboard. You can also add a product just by keying in a product code, and this could be our unique identifier code or the vendor code. So for instance, a G200 we could just put in here and select the cotton t-shirt from Alpha, and it will pull it through onto the sales order. Now the next thing that you'll want to do is select your colors and sizes and tab through these fields. So now we've got our t-shirt and our polo. Now a third way in which you can get product onto your sales order is through Find a Product. And this basically takes you to the product research area in your Vision system. And you could search by a keyword or filter using subcategories, color, and lead time, or price. So we'll put in a polo as well and just do a search. And what we can do here is we can grab this polo if we'd like and add it directly to that sales order. Now when doing this, we'll of course have to select the color and the sizes for that. And update those options. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got the polo, the t-shirt, and then another polo, and we've used a variety of methods to get that onto the sales order. The last way in which you can get product onto a sales order is through Add a Product. And Add Product is usually for any unique products that are not typically found in our product database. So if you have a unique vendor that you use, maybe they provide a specific custom product that you want to use, you can use this Add Product. When you select Add Product, it allows you to add a product on the fly. You just need to fill out the product code, which is the vendor code, and select the vendor from your vendor database, put in the quantity, the sale price, the cost price, and a description. You also have the ability to add in an image to be used on your sales order. Now when you hit save, it will not only add it directly to your sales order, but it will also add it to your My Products database. So it will bring it in as a line item on your sales order. So we've got a few shirts and polos that we're working with, and now what we can do is work on editing those products. So we've got the polo, and we're going to work with this one first. What you can see is you've got your product ID, your description. We already defined our color and size by clicking into that link or that blue field. And then you also have your quantity that we selected. You do have the ability to key in a separate sale price if you like. And by default, the cost price and the margin and vendor are hidden. so that the customer doesn't see that. To open that up, we can toggle this button here with the double arrows, and you'll now see that supplier shows, the cost price shows, and the gross margin. So you can click into any of these fields and make an adjustment on the gross margin and tab through to save that. It will lock down that price, and in this situation we just changed the gross margin for that one black small polo to 60%, and it's locked in that price. So again, that's using this toggle so that you can show your supplier cost and gross margin. If you don't toggle that on by default, you will see this screen, which is just showing you color, size, quantity, and sell price. If I wanted to go ahead and edit this as well, maybe I wanted just to change the sale price, I can click in here, key in $25, tab through to make sure that it gets saved and updated, and then again it will lock down that new price. Now we have 3 different products on here, and if we want to edit the first product being the polo, I can click on this little blue arrow and it will branch out that particular product. It will show you the description, which is completely editable, so you can click in here and edit the description. For some of our vendors, you can see the inventory. So if you wanted to show inventory, you could click on that blue link. It will allow you to select a color and see the locations where you have that color available and the sizes that are available. You could also put in your imprint details. So if we wanted to put front, left, chest. And if it was a print, we could put in the colors, or we could just define the screen print, one color, and it will update the methods that are against that particular shirt. So you can see that screen is offered by that supplier, and a one color is brought in there at no additional charge for that one color screen. Now if I want to roll that up into the price, which I don't really need to do since it is a 0 line item, I can hit roll up and it would actually roll it up into the price. So because we have 3 products, I need to somehow separate them, and I can do that by inserting a line break. So if I come up to that insert drop down and I hit line break, it will insert a line break at the bottom of the sales order. I just need to click on that and drag it to where I want it to be. So I'm going to drag it up under that one color for that polo. I'm going to insert another line break to separate the cotton t-shirt from the other polo, because I'm going to have different imprint method and decorations for each of those items. So the next thing that I want to do is edit this cotton t-shirt. So again, I can branch out using that arrow. I could edit the description if I wanted to just by clicking in there. I could also delete some of it. I could see the inventory like we did before, and I could put the imprint details in here. You could say front, center, and this time we'll go ahead and we'll put the imprint color. And because this is a blank good being supplied by this particular supplier and vendor, we might want to add our decorations methods. So I'm going to go ahead and close this arrow to save my changes. And I'm going to come up here to my decoration methods. I have some choices here. I can put in my embroidery. I can also put in my screen printers, my garment print, heat press, and dye sublimation. So if I go in and I say I want a screen, but I want to use Sharple's printing, I can go ahead and select that. And this time it's going to be a 2 color, and it's 1 location. And I can save that, and that will bring in those screen charges, so the run charge as well as the setup. So you'll see where they've been brought in here at the bottom of the order. and I want to apply it to that t-shirt. So I'm going to click on this arrow, oops, and drag it up under the t-shirts so I know that it applies to those t-shirts and also the setup. So now you can see that I'm going to use Sharpie's screen printing here for these 15 shirts. And there's 2 screen charges because we have a 2-color print. And I can roll up the price into the sale price of the shirts if I like. Okay. So the last one that I want to edit is this polo. And I want to use embroidery on this. So I'm going to branch out. I'm going to scroll down here and I can edit the description, see the inventory. But here I'm just going to put embroidery. Front left chest. And I'm going to branch back in to save that. And I want to come up here to my decoration methods and I'm going to go ahead and select one of my embroidery. And I'm going to do embroidery medium or good with stock. We can do that. It's going to bring those charges in and you can see them there. It's calculating the 40. And again, if I want to roll up the price, I can do that. And it will put it into that sale price, or I could break it out. It's up to you, however you want to present that to the customer. So what we've done is we've created a sales order. We've put a few different products onto that sales order. We've added the decorations for and edited each of those items. So we've edited the color, the size, the quantity. And then we also went ahead and put those, the decoration on for the polo, the t-shirt, and the other polo. So you basically have created your WIP or your work in progress. And what you can do now is take a look at how that is going to be displayed to the customer. So what we can do is by going over to the design area, this is going to show you a PDF format of what that is going to look like to the customer. So you can see that you have the customer's logo up at the top, you have your Embroid Me logo here, and your information for your customer as well as yourself. And then we have a detailed view, or I'm sorry, a line item view of what is being ordered. Now there's a couple things in how we present this to the customer that you can do. If you scroll up here, you have that ability, if it was a presentation or a quote, you could include a cover page with a template like a gray swirl so you can see how that looks. If you didn't want a cover page and it's just, a basic work in progress or a sales order, you can not include the cover page. But you can also come over here and you can see that you have that ability to exclude 0 line items. So if I check that, it's going to actually, all those roll-ups are going to fall off and you're just going to see the sale price of those shirts. Okay, but if you wanted to break that out and not roll up the price, you could check that, not roll up the price, and you could show them how much those screen charges are going to be. So it's up to you. The other thing you have is the detail view. So you can come into detail view. And this is where you can actually show the virtual sampling. Now I didn't do a virtual sample. We can go back to the sales order and show you what that looks like. But the detail view is going to give you an image of the product as well as a description, and then it will break it down this way. So it's completely up to you how you want to present that. But on the last page, you have all your pricing information, your sales tax, your order total. And if a deposit has been taken, it would show that there. And again, this is all under detail view, and you have this over here to the left, different ways in which you can edit or filter what that PDF looks like that you give to the customer. You also have a pro forma invoice, so if you need to print it as a pro forma invoice for that customer, you can do so. And you also have the ability to um, include it or print it as a production copy. Okay. So if we come back into the edit, which is where we built the sales order, there's a couple things that we want to show. If I wanted to put that virtual sample on, I have my logos up there at the top right. And I can click on that and grab the customer logo that I want to be virtual sampling on it. So if I wanted to do Ace Hardware in red, I could grab that. And now if I branch out that product, you can see the Ace Hardware logo on that shirt. And you can see that on the design view PDF as well. So if we go into design view and I go detail view, we scroll down here, you can now see that the Ace Hardware virtual sample is on there. Now the last thing, or second to last thing that we want to look at is if I go back to the edit area, from this build a sales order screen, you have the ability to take a deposit. And what that is if you come up to the next button here in the top right, you can grab apply deposit. And when you click on that, it tells you you're about to apply a deposit against this document for this customer. So the date paid is going to default to today's date. And you can put the amount in here. It's automatically going to calculate 50%. But if you want to calculate maybe more than that, maybe you want to take 100% or 75, you can rekey in a figure here. Then you can also put it on the credit card payment. So you can say it's a check, and you can put the check number there, and you could apply that payment. So now what you'll see at the bottom of the sales order is it will tell you that a total paid was $3,000. So on this date, reference number, which is that check number I believe I keyed in, and you have the amount of $3,000 that was paid. So the balance due is $2786.05. Okay, so it will allow you to take a deposit. Again, it's from the Build a Sales Order edit area, and it's using this next button, apply deposit. The last thing that you want to do is when you're happy with your document and you've built your sales order and your WIP, you can go ahead and print that out and give that to the customer or send it via email. And you can do that by, again, coming up to this next button. You can print or you can send and share. And when you send and share, it will attach that PDF that you were working on. It will automatically pull up the customer email. But in this case, we'll just email it to myself. Okay, so you've got your sales order that you're sending. You could type whatever you like in the body of the email, and you could go ahead and send that order out. Now, when you do that, it's basically going to change the status of that sales order. When you first opened it and you were working on it, it was in the new order status. Once you print that sales order or you send that sales order to the customer, it does change the status of the sales order to acknowledged. So if I save and close this work in progress, and I'm now in my project screen, I can see on my sales order tab that I have these 3 items for my sales order. But if I come over here, I can come over to my activity log and I can view my completed activities. So I can see now that my sales order was sent, and there's the email that shows that it was sent. If I come back up to the top of the project, you can see now the status of the entire project is that it's now at acknowledged. So you can see acknowledged here. So what we can do now is if I go into my projects overview, I have my listing of my projects. If I want to find that particular sales order, I have two ways of going about that. I could go into the project and find that project, which was this one that was acknowledged. And I know I did it for ABC League, so I could search the project by the customer. And pull up all projects for that customer, and I could see, okay, there's my project that I created today. And I could go into that to see the sales order. Or I can come up to projects and I can just view all my sales orders. So this allows me to take a look at the sales orders that are on my system. You can also sort by the status. So if I want to see all acknowledged sales orders, which means those are all the sales orders that have been sent to the customer, and the customer has acknowledged, yes, I want to place that order, you can see those there. I can search by the customer up here in the top right, but we know that this is the sales order we just completed. So I could simply click on that sales order number and pull up that sales order. Now the other thing that you might have noticed is, if I close this, is from that sales order screen where you have all your sales orders. So we'll go back into this projects drop down under sales orders. You can see a listing of those sales orders, and if I select one, I have the ability to cancel a sales order. So typically I would cancel a sales order if for some reason they decided not to go through with that order. If you've taken any money, such as a deposit, it's best not to cancel the sales order because you will need to refund the money prior to closing out that sales order. However, it is fine if it's at new order status to cancel a sales order. So it's completely, up to you. But if it's a new order and it hasn't been sent to the customer and they haven't taken any deposit on it, then you can simply highlight that particular order and hit cancel, and it will cancel that sales order. So you have that way of canceling orders that have been put on the system either by mistake or simply the customer has changed their mind. So that concludes this training module on Embroider Me Vision on sales orders and work in progress. So we covered how to create a sales order, put product onto a sales order, edit the product on a sales order, as well as add imprint methods such as embroidery, screen printing, and so forth. Showed you how to take a deposit, as well as how to take a look at that PDF in the design view, and how to send that PDF or sales order to your customer. So thank you very much, and we hope that you take the post test that applies to this training module.